Jean-Baptiste Le Moyne de Bienville and his brother Pierre Le Moyne de Iberville were two of the most important people in Gulf Coast history. The former is known as the father of Louisiana, and his name adorns the old town square in Mobile. Likewise, Pierre ordered the construction of Fort Louis on the present-day site of Mobile in 1702, and he lent his name to a small town in southern Mississippi. It's safe to say that life on this old delta would be considerably different without the Brothers LeMoyne. So let's take a look at their history. I'm your host, Stu Donald. Let's head to the Delta. Although there were 4 LeMoyne brothers in total, we will focus mainly on Jean-Baptiste and Pierre. Now, according to encyclopediaofalabama.org, the LeMoyne brothers were all born in Montreal. Their father, a trapper and trader, immigrated to Canada in 1641, and after a distinguished military service to France was ennobled, choosing the title of Sieur de Longueuil, and quickly earned a place as a colonial leader. LeMoyne's sons also served in the military in France's colonial holdings and in Europe, and all of the LeMoyne brothers received titles of nobility from the French government. Of all the LeMoyne brothers, Pierre, known as Iberville, played the greatest role in the early settlement of what is now Alabama. He was baptized in Montreal July 20th, 1661. Iberville served in the French military as a sailor and soldier, and his expertise in bravery in battle earned him a place as New France's greatest military hero in the continual wars over territory between France and England during the 17th century. He and 2 of his brothers made numerous forays against English outposts around Hudson Bay. His military success during the 1690s earned him a high-ranking commission in New France's military. And in 1697, he led the French-Canadian forces to victory in the Battle of Hudson Bay. The Iberville's efforts in establishing a French presence on the Gulf Coast were ably aided by his younger brother Jean-Baptiste Le Moyne de Bienville, who was baptized in Montreal on February 24, 1680. Bienville began his naval service in 1692 as a midshipman and fought in the battles for Newfoundland and Hudson Bay between English and French forces. Wounded in action at Hudson Bay, he recuperated in France and then joined Iberville on the expedition to rediscover the mouth of the Mississippi and to protect France's vast territory from its arch-rivals, Spain and England. The Spanish had already established a stronghold in Pensacola, and the British followed close on the heels of the LeMoyne fleet. In late 1699, Captain William Bond entered the Mississippi Delta, but he was repelled by Bienville, who audaciously ordered him to abandon the area. When Iberville returned in January 1700, he ordered the construction of Fort La Boule on the river south of present-day New Orleans and named Bienville commandant. The post was Bienville's first position of authority. He was only 20 years old, but despite his youth, proved a talented leader and worked well with the local Indian nations, the Mobile, the Biloxi, and the Pascagoula, all of whom helped support the colony. In addition, Bienville, a talented linguist, was able to persuade members of several tribes, the Choctaw in particular, to settle near Mobile and serve as a buffer village against the Spanish. An effort made all the more important by the outbreak of the War of the Spanish Succession. Bienville successfully served as commandant of Fort La Boule on the Mississippi, Fort Maurepas, and finally Fort Louis at Mobile. During this period, Bienville petitioned the French government to send French women over to marry French-Canadian settlers, who were increasingly marrying Indian women and threatening the supremacy of the church and the French government. In 1704, 23 young women, known as the Pelican Girls for the name of the ship they sailed on, arrived at what is now Dauphin Island. Despite Bienville's achievements, he made a number of enemies in the colony. Many of these strained relationships stemmed from the questionable business activities of his brothers Iberville and Sirganet, both of whom made substantial fortunes from profiteering. The ill will resulting from their dealings damaged Bienville's credibility as a leader among the colonial authorities in France. Bienville weathered these storms and continued to help the young Mobile colony grow, but the repercussions continued for some time. When Iberville, then governor of Louisiana, died in 1706, the French government passed Bienville over for the post and instead named Nicolas Donnet de Moy as the territory's new governor. For the next quarter century, Bienville served in a top leadership capacity in Louisiana. In 1711, he oversaw the relocation of the territorial capital from Old Mobile at 27 Mile Bluff down to its present site. And in 1717, he established Fort Toulouse near present-day Wetumpka, Elmore County. A severe hurricane that year ruined Mobile's chief port at Dauphin Island, and Bienville moved the capital back to Ocean Springs in present-day Mississippi, near where Fort Maurepas had once stood. 2 years later, he moved the capital to New Biloxi, and 2 years after that, moved it to New Orleans, where it would remain until 1763. Bienville commanded extreme respect from the settlers of Mobile, Dauphin Island, Biloxi, and New Orleans, as well as among the local Indian leaders, and his abilities were highly regarded. It was not until 1732, however, that Bienville was officially appointed governor of the colony, a post he had long sought. Through great difficulties and with meager support from the French court, Bienville overcame many obstacles to create a vast French colony. In 1743, after 44 years as one of France's most important colonial leaders, Bienville retired from public duty. He journeyed to Paris that same year, began a long, uneventful retirement, and died in Paris in 1767 at the age of 88. Unlike his brothers, Bienville never married and left no offspring. His career in Louisiana lasted for nearly 4.5 decades, far exceeding that of any other colonial leader. Although Iberville is remembered as the founder and first governor of Mobile, Bienville, by virtue of his long and admirable service, can rightfully be called the father of Louisiana.
Hey, before you go hunting you some yonder, how about clicking that there subscribe and like button one time for me, would you?